So, today is February 23, 2025. My name is Carol Grafford. I am honored to be able to offer today's message. And the message I have titled, Inclusion, Holding the World with Open Arms. My teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, has said, the situation of the world is still like this. People identify completely with one side, one ideology. To understand the suffering and the fear of a citizen of another country, we have to become one with him. To do so is dangerous. We will be suspected by both sides. But if we don't do it, if we align ourselves with one side or the other, we will lose our chance to work for peace. Reconciliation is to understand both sides, to go to one side and describe the suffering being endured by the other side, and then to go to the other side and describe the suffering being endured by the first side. Doing only that will be a great help for peace. I prepared this talk about 12 days ago, and a fair amount had happened at that point, and a fair amount more has happened since. But I've left this talk the same. And I do hope, that it is useful for us. A few weeks back, I was in a small group, and someone was describing a training they had been to about interpersonal relationships, and the leader of that training was showing two gestures where you're with another person and you don't have the same view, you have some conflict, and what we tend to do as human beings is this. Push back. No, go away. Don't come near me. Nothing to do with you. This pushing away is what we tend to do. And she was advocating that what would be more useful is to gather in, to call in, to gather in a way of becoming one, I think, was her message. But I have found that that's not really my way either. And the gesture that I tend to use is this one. Not this one, not this one, this one. So holding whoever, whatever it is, with open arms. Sometime in the last month, I was sitting at the little table in the kitchen with my husband. And he and I do not share all the same worldviews. Let's see, we got married in '77, so we've been together a long time. And remembering that I grew up on a farm, we grew up in farmland with very conservative values. So I don't remember what triggered it, but suddenly my husband said something like this. You know what gets me is when people just can't decide what gender they are. And he went on and on. And I know he has a lot of difficulty with the pronoun they, but he really was stuck on this gender fluidity. I've known a couple of people who describe themselves as gender fluid, and he's really stuck on that. He's just having a hard time. So today, the person feels like a girl, so they use the girls' bathroom, and tomorrow they feel like a boy, so they use the boys' bathroom. How are we supposed to deal with that? You know? And what if they're not gender fluid at all? What if it's just a pervert who says they feel like a girl today? And And it went on, and I sat there metaphorically like this. Okay? I say nothing, nothing at all. I say nothing at all. And I just wait. And I try hard not to, but my eyebrow may have risen a few times. But I try really to just take it in. Because I know he's struggling. He's struggling. He's in a place where he has no concept, no possible shared way of this very different thing. He doesn't know what to do with it. And when we feel that way, we tend to strike out, to spew things, you know. So he went on for a while, and then he said, okay, I'm done with my rant. And he wasn't ranting in the loud, loud voice, but, you know, I could tell his heart rate was up, his blood pressure was up, his respiration was up. I knew that, right? You can kind of see and feel and hear the tension that's present when a person is in that energy space, right? So, okay. So, you know, I take a couple of breaths, and then I say, you know, just the other day, I think I heard it. I don't think I read it. I think I heard it, but one or the other. I heard a person say, and it was a male person who said this, there are only two genders, male and female. That's all there is. That's all there's ever been. So I said that out loud to Jim. And I said, but you know, I took anatomy classes. And in every anatomy text, it's going to have a section on hermaphroditism, where a person is born with expressions of both genders. And there's a lot of different ways that can manifest. Women who grow beards. I have a very good friend in Wisconsin. That was her childhood of hell, you know, shaving twice a day so that she could fit in at school. And always in those anatomy texts, they have like diagrams or sometimes photographs or whatever, but and a description of these different ways that you can put two genders together in the human form. And then I said, now remember, my cousin, it's really my third cousin or something twice removed or whatever, it's my cousin's grandchild, who's probably about 10 years old by now. And when he was born, he looked physically male. But the penis did not work for urine. There was a second opening, a female opening, just behind the penis. So when that infant, when that small child would urinate, it would be from that place. And I don't remember how old this little cousin of mine was when they had the surgery done and rerouted the penis so that normal male urine function would be for this person. I just said that. And then I moved to, you know, biology out there. Same-sex behavior is widely known in wild animals. And I started to say about that, and then I mentioned Panzer. My oldest grandson has a small farm operation, and they had at the time 3 pet goats, one of whom was quite large, and his name was Panzer. He was a neutered male, but he did not know that. And he would mount any goat of any size, shape, color, gender, whatever, constantly. And so, oh yeah, Jim's nodding his head. Oh yeah, right, okay. And then I told him about the retreats that I go on. I go on Buddhist meditation retreats, usually 3 times a year, and how I'm just thinking about, I'm saying this to him, I'm just thinking about the retreats that I go on, and there's really quite a relatively high percentage of people from the LGBTQ community who attend those retreats. Well, I suppose they would, he says. I said, he had made comments about how people in that general community, they're just trying to get attention for themselves. He had said that earlier. I said, you know, it's just no big deal. People show up and everybody treats everybody like people. Everybody accepts everybody as people. As people. And he said, well, I suppose that's what they want. And I said, that's what they want. But they don't get that out in the regular society. Oh, look of dawning coming, yeah. And then I spoke about my own feelings about the pronouns, he, she, they. I say, you know, as a woman, I have always been aware of how the use of he and she in our language minimizes women, girls. How the default is always he. You don't know who's driving that car ahead of you, but you say, he's going way too fast, right? And we've had that conversation before, and he knows that. He recognizes that. And I told him that my personal feeling about the pronoun they is that it's very equalizing. It would be very equalizing if we just dropped he and she and we just had they. It would be equalizing. But there would be a lot of loss too. I feel the same way about the euro, right? The euro is great. It did a lot of equalizing. But we lost the franc, the lira, the Deutschmark. We lost them. And when we lose those coins, we lose somehow pieces of culture. And there are pieces of being she that feel important to me, that are rich, culturally rich to me. And so those things were hitting the mark, right? And what he did, the entire time I was speaking, I'm witnessing a softening, right? He nods when I talk about the anatomy. Oh, Panzer, oh yeah, he nods big when we talk about Panzer, okay. There was some look of understanding when I was talking about the retreats that I go on. Oh, that's what they want. And a huge softening when I talk about the euro. He has a soft spot for going to France when he was 14 years old and, you know, learning the language and paying things with the francs and all that stuff. And so when I was done talking, he stood up, he hugged me, and he said, "You're always educating me, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am. It takes a long time and a lot of patience." And then we let go of the hug, and we walked away to our different things. But what I didn't do was react, and I didn't attack. I did not respond directly to any statement he made. Not one. I did not. What I did do was to speak only from my own knowledge and experience. I spoke from human biology and anatomy and farm life. And he knows that I know those things, so he can respect that. He can hear a little bit. And I spoke from my own feelings, my own experiences, the retreats, my feelings about words and language. Effectively, I was holding us together with open arms. Because when I have a conversation like this, I never know what's going to stick, what's going to shift, what's going to just blow right by and miss the mark. You know, I never know. I don't know those things. So my suggestion as we move forward in these very difficult times, I never even know when the conversation's going to come up. They just kind of happen, right? It's an opportunity. But when it comes up, I encourage us to try the open arms. Please don't be doing this. It doesn't help anything. I'm not sure that this helps, and I'm not sure that this is possible. Honestly, if you think about the things we are facing right now, but this might open some possibilities, maybe. Please don't react, attack, or respond directly to anything they say. See if you can find some angle where there might be a chance for agreement, where you might have a space that would be respected, that you can come from. Please speak only from your own experience. It really helps. I feel this happened to me, this I observed, those kind of things. And remember to hold it all with open arms, because the situation of the world is still like this. Those words written after the Vietnam War ended, it's still like this. Thank you for listening to me today.